Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome again to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. I say again, welcome to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. And what is my thought on this Friday? Well, I've been watching some of the dating trends and stuff like that on YouTube, and I've actually talked to several people personally, to confirm that what they're saying online is actually happening in real life, pertaining to dating and stuff like that. But there are different movements that are going on in China. You have what's known as the leftover women. Japan, you have the herbivore men that have pulled out of the dating and marriage market, and that's leaving women without partners to pick from. And then obviously here in the West, you have MGTOW, or I guess men walking away, passport bros, and all of this stuff, or as some people like to call part of those guys, and maybe those communities call them incels, involuntarily celibate, meaning that I guess maybe women aren't selecting them to mate with, but in regards to the women, and to include the West, these different movements that are going on in South Korea, where the women are choosing not to, I guess, date or get involved with a certain group of, I guess, Korean men because of their standards. And China, obviously, it's the same thing. In the West, Australia, Canada, the whole West, and definitely America. I guess there's a certain group of women, or some women, I'll say it that way. Some women have some really high or unrealistic dating standards. And so the question that I propose, as I see that this obviously is not just a problem here in the United States or just the West, and it's just going over in different parts of Africa, I guess, maybe because the women's dating standards are so high that it's driving the men out or driving them away. In Africa, you have the same thing as lying flat, or the herbivore men, or what they call MGTOW, or men walking away, the Stingy Man's Association. But it's just that some women's dating preferences and standards have become, I guess, unrealistic. And the question I pose to that is that for the ladies, it's like, are you pricing yourself out of dating and marriage? And I'll say it again. Are you pricing yourself out of dating and marriage? And the sad reality of it for some of these women, the choices that they made, they're now reaping, off of the choices that they made. And obviously feminism does definitely plays a part in it. It does play a part, and there's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to be independent and even be strong. But I think in dealing with men, if you want a relationship, you should not have to be strong and independent. Should never cause you to sacrifice your femininity. And I think that's maybe where some women are going wrong. And there's nothing wrong with you having a career or being able to earn the bacon. But when it comes to a relationship with a man, you have to know how to balance that out and bring your femininity to the table. And being feminine does not mean that if you make money that you get to keep all your money and you spend his. That's not what that means. If you earn money just like the guy, and y'all both are making the same, or even if you're making something, you should bring your resources to the table also, but you definitely have to bring what you were meant to be as a woman. No man wants to date or marry another man, even if she's in a female body. No man wants that, you know? And I do understand that all relationships are different, and people have both sexes look for different things in their ideal mate. But the one thing I have to say, when it comes to men, I believe that men are more realistic because we have to be. There's just some things that we may want, or Corvette or Porsche or a Maybach, but we have to be realistic about what we're able to attain. And sometimes for some women, they can kind of, or, even a lot, can live in fantasy land, and they want to combine and pull the best attributes from different men and try to make it one man. And what happens and what they wind up doing is that they're looking for this guy that doesn't exist, or where there's a limited supply. Now, if you have billions of women on this planet, but they all want the, the top 10%, well, those guys are in limited edition, and only so many women can have those men in a long-term relationship or a marriage, And even if those top 10% of guys, they have things and standards and things that they're looking for. And some females, to be honest, they do not qualify for this so-called top 10%. But you cannot have a bunch of women looking for this so-called fantasy ideal mate, because then some of these ladies are going to come up short. And so when they make up this fantasy guy in their imagination, and they all are gunning for it, or even if the guys like that do exist, there's only so many of them. So basically, you outcompete yourself out of the market, because only a certain percentage of women can get those men long term. Only a certain percentage of women can lock those men down, can win their hearts, and can marry them. And the question that I pose is that, are women becoming FemCels? And this is a term that is the counterpart to incels, which for men is involuntarily celibate. For females that are celibate, for whatever reason, the guys are not choosing them. And there's a term going around being called "the juice ain't worth the squeeze." So basically what some men are saying is that, hey, it's not even worth their time to be bothered dating or bother going for marriage, because some men believe, and I hate to say it, in some cases it can be true, that if they get married and they get divorced, basically they're going to get tore up, by the courts. And there's different reasons for that. You know what I'm saying? It's everything from child support, the guy's resources, stuff that he worked for, resources being torn up, can even wind up paying for kids that are not his. Or he can even find out that children that he thought were his, that his wife had slept with somebody else and was pregnant by another man, and he'd been taking care of the kids, for a long period of time, thinking it's his, and now he's stuck with the bill for paying child support. I mean, it's different scenarios, But from what I understand, I believe women file for divorce, I think, like 80% of the time. 80 to 90. They saying now 80 to 90% of divorces are filed by women. And I'm not saying that no marriage is perfect, and I don't know the individual reasons as to why those marriages broke up. It takes two to tango. But the thing that I look at is like these the standards. Okay, I guess 6 feet, at least 6 feet tall, what is it, a six pack, at least 6 figures or more. And some women say 6 inches, but let me fill you in. From an African American perspective, I've heard some black women say at least 9 inches. And and I'm a Christian, and I'm telling you what I have sat down, you know what I'm saying, was hanging out years ago with I think it was 3 Christian women. Okay, and they said that the guy needs to have at least 9 inches. So, for those, ladies, and I'm not saying that there ain't guys that's not packing more than that, but if you start at 9, if 9 inches is your starting point, and granted, women are entitled to have their standards and how they want their man packaged. But if you starting at 9, well, you gotta understand that you're ruling out a lot of the male population. Not saying that there ain't and no homo, so I'm gonna say that right now. But not saying that there's not guys out there packing, but it's like you got to think about, what about the other attributes? You know what I'm saying? What about the things that are are important, such as love? You know what I'm saying? Loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Caring. And granted, I do understand that people have their sexual preferences, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to balance it out, you know what I'm saying? And understand that when you set your preferences so high and make them so like rigid to where it's almost like unrealistic, then you're going to limit yourself to the partners that you can have, And then on top of that, many of these ladies, they want the guy to be, I guess, either good looking on on top of it. So it's like some of them seem like they want a perfect man, and they want someone that's going to deal with all their baggage and all their liabilities, but they don't want him to have none. And that's crazy. They don't want him to have any liabilities, and they want him to be packaged a certain way. But a lot of times, many of these women, they can't even meet their own standards. They can't even meet their own standards. Some, loaded up with debt. And like I said, even for those that are supposedly the boss chicks, they can make themselves FemCels, because just because you a boss babe, you still have to, there's a difference between being a boss babe and being a wife. That's a big, wife carries a whole another level, and I'm talking about a wife that's worth it, like a Proverbs 31 woman, that's a good wife to her husband. And I just think that maybe, especially in the United States or the West, maybe some women have not been properly taught how to be wife material, and as a result, what's happened is that men have woken up, and a lot of men are bypassing these chicks or turning them down. Now, obviously, how some men are. Hey, if a man can smash, what I'm saying, he's going to hit it. But just because he's willing to smash or have sex with you does not mean that he wants you to be his girlfriend or that he wants to marry you. There are other characteristics and qualities and attributes that go into it. Just because you're a boss babe does not make you a wife. I'm saying? You can make a lot of money and you may run your own business, or you may be the boss at your job, but I think that some women, are missing it. A man doesn't want to deal with a chick that's masculine. And so with all these different standards, women want men to come back to the table and to fulfill their role, as provider, protector. And even if they're going to go 50-50 with him, they still expect him to be a man. But some of the ladies, they don't want to fulfill their end of the bargain. And you cannot have a relationship with someone when it all goes one way. Some of the women, they want to have what is known as 304 phases. 304 Basically, it's a term. What it means is a whore or a hoe. So they want to have their whole phase, but then when they're ready to get off the carousel, you know, sleeping around with different men, then they expect to having been a whore to want men to now take them seriously and wife them up and be the mother of their kids. And ladies gonna have to make a decision. Do you want to be a whore or do you want to be a wife? And being a wife does not mean that you get to just stay at home and just get over. Now, granted, if people have different arrangements, you know what I'm saying? Some men may still want a traditional, woman, may want a housewife once they have kids, whatever like that, and she take it house down. There may be some, but in this time and age that we're living in, things have gotten more expensive, and pretty much normally in most cases, both men and women both have to work and contribute to the household. So it's really in most cases for the average person, it's going to be highly unlikely that the woman is going to be able to be a housewife. Maybe there are certain cases where they can, but even if you are a housewife, there is still you still have duties and obligations that you have to fulfill. So it doesn't mean that you just get to sit back and chill on Easy Street. And another thing is that ladies, if you have finances and resources, you need to share them and support your husband with them. It's not just that his money is my money and my money is my money. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And if you desire to have a husband, you should go in for the right reasons, love and loyalty. If you don't want to really don't love that man, and you don't want to be loyal to him, then don't bother coming into his life. A man is not something that you can use and basically use for resources, what you can get out of him, and then discard. But then some of these ladies, now that men woke up, they're complaining, that guys don't want to play the game. But if you want men to come back to the table, the ladies are going to have to make some changes. Else, eventually, you will become FemCels. You will be females that are celibate, and guys will pass you by. And if you don't want to keep getting smashed, then you have to learn to respect yourself. You're going to have to close your legs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be cruel, but you cannot have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You cannot be a hoe and then expect a man or a sucker, to wife you up. And people say that, or women say, I'm not going to settle. Well, to be honest with you, even for those of us that get what we want, all of us have to settle, to a certain point. We all have to settle because none of us are perfect. So, you have to have realistic standards. And like I said, for these top, whatever, 10%, of men supposedly that women are looking for, you have to be realistic about who you can attract. Men, generally speaking, do the hunting and the chasing. Women, you can only get who you can attract. And who you can attract, what reason are you attracting them for? Some of you attract guys that just want to have sex with you. Some of you attract guys, that may want you to be their girlfriend or friends with benefits. Some of you legitimately can attract guys that want to marry you. And so for the ladies, I'm saying this, we already know men know what they got to do. And if they don't, they face the harsh realities of life. So it is what it is. But now, ladies, it's your turn. And so you have to figure out, what does it take? I'm talking about generally speaking, you ought to know this. What does it take to be a wife? And then for each man, what he looks for in a wife is going to be uniquely different. But there's a baseline. There's a basic baseline what all men look for and what they consider wife material. And one of the key things, if you want to be wife material, you're going to have to start by respecting yourself, and you're going to have to start respecting your bodies. Showing all your goodies and stuff like that. This social media, it has a track record when they log all this stuff in. What about, 10 years from now when you don't want to be on OnlyFans or OnlyFools, or you posting, half-naked pictures on Facebook, and then what happens when you have kids, and somehow in the future, if your kids happen to see that, that's not something that you want to teach your sons or want to teach your daughters. You don't want your daughters to be whores. So you got to think about it. And if you choose to be a hoe, know that there's a consequence for that. You won't be able to pair bond correctly because you've had too many men inside of you. And I have to tell it like it is, but you ladies, you got to put your work in. And that does include, get into the gym and take care of yourself naturally. Some ladies, you want to put fake this, Brazilian butt lifts, want to put collagen injections in your lips, having your skin stretch. Yada, 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 yada. It goes on and on and on. But some will do everything but get into the gym and take a reasonably healthy diet. Everything but put the work in. You can't, you got to work with what God gave you. And I'm not saying that I'm against women having, surgeries, but some, you can't surgery everything. And most men, they don't like fake women. They may want to hit it, just to try it out. But long term and in real life, most men don't like fake women. They don't like, necessarily the fake breasts, booty, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying it. Now for those of you that may feel, hey, I need to get the surgery to enhance, hey, do what you do. It is your body, but be realistic and make sure that whatever you get enhanced, make sure it fits within your natural body frame. Other than that, it doesn't look cute, and over time, if you do too much of the surgeries, you can look like a circus freak. But anyway, yeah, FemCels. But, are women turning themselves into FemCels? Think about it. But that's all I have on this one. And the name of this podcast is Snacks Thoughts, SNAKZTHOUGHTS. And I also have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. That's ERICBROADUS YouTube. And so please, guys, subscribe and join Snacks Thoughts. And go over to my YouTube channel, smash that bell to become a subscriber. And also on Snacks Thoughts or on my YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube, smash the like button to like the videos. Or if you don't like it, hit the unlike button. Either way, leave a comment on Snacks Thoughts and Eric Brothers YouTube. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and everyone has a right to be heard and has a different perspective. But please share them out. Snacks Thoughts and Eric Broadus YouTube. That's ERICBROADUS YouTube or EricBroadusYouTube.com. So push them out, guys, and share both of them, But I'm just presenting a perspective on this. So it's never personal, but just something to think about. At some point, we have to be realistic because at the rate things are going... dating and marriage is going to take a beating, and it's going to show up by 2030. You'll see the new numbers and you'll begin to see the effects in society. But anyway, that's all I have. Push it out. Snacks Thoughts, Eric Brothers YouTube. Share it with friends, family, frenemies, enemies, cats, dogs, bats, goats, whatever. Push it out, guys. All right, catch you on the next one later.